lectures. So shalom and welcome to all of our audience from all over the world. My name is Yehuda Michael. I'm a program director at MCTC. Thank you for joining us. My colleague Nuria Levy and I are very excited to have you with us for online lecture series on civil society activism. Communities and individual social activists is a great contributor to the promotion of a just and inclusive society. At the age of digital media, social movements are formed rapidly and grow into a global influence even faster than ever. This lecture series aims to present and expose the participants to different models of civil society and activism in various aspects and topics. The series holds three meetings. For the first meeting last week, we focused on creating a roadmap for social justice. Today, we will focus on creating and maintaining effective public awareness and learn some practical tools from for activism from a professional activist. Before we start some logistics, we are recording this meeting and later on posting it on our YouTube channel. For those of you who do not make it, who do not make it to be with us today, if you do not want to be recorded, please turn off your camera. Before we start, I will say a few words about us. MCTC was founded in 1961 by two visionary women, our former Prime Minister Golda Meir and Mina Ben-Zvi, MCTC's founding director, through Meshav, Israel Agency for International Development Cooperation at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. MCTC focused on three areas. First one is entrepreneurship and innovation. The second one is early childhood education. And the third one is sustainable community development. We believe in women's contribution to the society and the country's economy. For that reason, we stress that gender equality is the key for sustainable development. This will be the short review about our center. Without further ado, let's move into today's speaker. I'm pleased to introduce you to our speaker for today, Ms. Orly Barlev. Ms. Orly Barlev is an independent journalist as well as a social activist. Ms. Barlev has been an activist for over a decade and participated in many social movements. In 2018, she was chosen as one of the 20 most influential activist women in Israel by the Israeli most popular newspaper, Globes. In addition, in 2000, Ms. Barlev was awarded the Sami Michael Prize for Equality and Social Justice, as well as most recently awarded the Yuri Avner Memorial Prize for her work as an independent journalist. Thank you, Ms. Orly Barlev, for joining us today, and please take it from here.
Thank you, Yuda, and hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to meet you, although it's through the computer, but still it's a pleasure to see. And I see some faces and some names, but let's all imagine that we are all together in one big room and we can see each other and hear each other and feel each other presence. I will start with a few words about myself, and then we will dive into the activism and awakening public awareness to all kinds of issues. First, I'm 49. I have two girls. One is 13 and the other is 17. When I was young, I studied the media and journalism, and I worked in the Israeli public radio. It's called Kol Israel. Well, it used to be called like that. It's like the British BBC. I used to work there as journalist for about 4 years. Later on, I was an editor of the news pages in Haaretz newspaper, which is like the New York Times in Israel. It's kind of. And so I'm coming from the world of journalism, but after a few years that I've been doing that, I quit and I focused on raising my girls. I raised them, and I was really away from all journalism and all kinds of career. That was my career, to be a mother. And I did homeschooling. I raised my girls at home. And later on, 10 years ago in Israel, suddenly there was out in the streets a huge protest that was never, we haven't have any kind of this kind of protest before. Many people came out to the streets with tents. It's called also the tents protest. And there were demonstrations every week, huge demonstrations with tens of thousands of people and then hundreds of thousands of people. And the biggest demonstration was with 500,000 people out in the streets. So when you think of Israel, which had back then 8 million people, I think back then, 8 point something, and 500,000 out in the streets, and of course all the media covering it, and millions at home supporting this effort. So you see that it was really, really huge. The calling back then was for social justice. It was about all kinds of economic issues. That was in 2011, and maybe some of them you remember, there was a wave of the Arab Spring, started in Tunisia and then Egypt and all on some Arab countries back in 2010 and 11. Then there was Greece and Portugal and Spain, and then Israel, and then there was, it flew to United States with Occupy Wall Street, and Occupy Wall Street became also very popular even in Europe, which you would think that in Europe things are much better. Well, apparently there are a lot of reasons for people to go out to the streets. So it was also in Europe and even in Australia and New Zealand, okay? Maybe sometimes we think of New Zealand, hey, that's a nice place. Well, even there, people went out to the streets. So since then, I'm social activist and independent journalist. I have all the skills as a journalist from my early years, and I took all my skills and all my abilities to start to do this through the social networks. I've been working for 10 years through Facebook and through Twitter. Of course, there are other platforms. We will get to it later on. What I do in the past few years, at the beginning, I was working with a group of people. We established a page called The Situation Room. And in this page, it was civil journalism, okay? I was the only one that was journalist by profession. Other people were civil journalists, people that just got the skills and started to do this kind of job. What we did there was taking everything that we see in the mainstream media and giving it another way of looking, another perspective. If we thought that the information is not a correct one, we would give the correct information, truth and facts over misfacts or alternative facts or lies. So our mission was to spread information, and through that to cause and to make and to rise public awareness. This is the headline of the title of our meeting here. It's about public awareness. So it started with spreading information, which is facts, truth, stable information that people can check us and see whether we're right or wrong. And after they see that we are right, we have the credibility to continue on spreading all the information later on. So I did that with a group of people in that situation room, and we also encouraged people to go out to the streets and to protest and to demonstrate about whatever they felt like that it's something that you should speak up for. And some of us were even involved in some civil fights, some social fights. Personally, I was not only involved, but also in the group that was leading a specific social justice fight, economical fight. It was about the gas, the natural gas found in Israel, and about what to do with it and how should the public benefit from it. It was a criticism of the government about the decisions that they were making, that they made. The decision regarding also what will be with the gas, and also about spreading the money from the gas. There was the public and the tycoons. It's a normal issue. I mean, in all countries, there are the big tycoons, the big pockets, the big money that usually they try to influence governments all around the world. And the public, sometimes when they are aware, the public rise up and start to fight for the rights of the public. So it will be something that it's more fair. So the benefits will go fairly between also the public and the people that are invested in the projects. That was a few years ago. In the recent years, I'm not with the group of the Situation Room. I'm operating solo, and I'm doing my work as an independent journalist. I haven't been done any leading protest, but I'm covering civil protest in the past few years. And by doing that, and also by speaking up about whatever that seemed to me wrong, about government corruption, about democracy. If I see that the democracy in Israel it's in having trouble, I'm speaking about it, and of course about issues of social justice. So that is my area in the past few years, and I'm covering also protests that started. One of the biggest protests in Israel, it's been in the past year against the prime minister right now. It's been a year that I've been covering it, and I will tell you a little bit about the tools that I'm using, and also the tools that activists use. But just for your information, this protest, it has been a weekly protest for, again, a year, and with the participations of tens of thousands of people in Jerusalem and also around the country. There was one survey that checked, and it was the results of the survey was that at least 1 million people participate in this protest, took action in this protest over the last year at least one time. So at least 1 million people joined this protest, and it's about, again, democracy and the cleaning the government from corruption. So about that, more than at least 1 million people took part of it. Now I want to tell you, that was a little bit about myself. And from that perspective, as an independent journalist that's covering social protest and social fights, and also in the perspective of a social activist in my first years, I want to give you some tools, because I understand that you're coming from all kinds of activism and from all over the world. I want to give you some tools how to approach fight, how to and how to manage it. First, I would suggest that if you are, let's start in theory. Let's build a fight. Let's suggest that, for example, the authorities, they want to do, let's take a small and nice fight. They just want to take green areas from some area, okay? They want to build towers. They want to have all kinds of commercial. Let's talk about something which is relatively mild. So when you see something that you think that you need to make people be awake and and to take part of it and to influence through the fight on the authorities, on the government, or if it's a city hall or whatever it is, first you need to map the situation. You need to map the fight. You need to map the information. And you need to build something like 5 to 6 teams. The first team, the most important team, is the information team. First, you need to collect the information about the issue. If they want to take all the green areas, the size of the green areas, the importance of the green areas, the meaning of the green areas, but not from your perspective, but from the perspective of the people. You want to reach to people, you have to think through their eyes. How will it affect their lives, their children's lives, their parents' lives? It's about them. People need to know how this matter concerns their lives. Okay, so you need to collect the information, to analyze the information, to process the information, and to make it accessible to the people. Many people, they don't have time to read all kinds of charts and all kinds of graphs unless it's very, very simplified, unless it's very, very with colors and very, very simple. So you need to think how to make the information that you collected and you process into something that it is accessible. You start with this. When you have the information, then we go to the next level of the fight. You need to have people to start with you. You need to have the initial group, the group that is the engine of the fight. Again, collecting the fight together, processing the fight together, and putting the headlines of the fight. Putting the headlines, putting what is the most important message of the fight, like stop building in green areas, or green areas is the lungs of our lives. Or you need to clarify with yourself at the beginning, what is the main message? What is the main goal, the main purpose, and then the main message, and again, all that from collecting the information and analyzing it. So this is the information team. You need to establish a few more teams in this fight. Another team is the strategy team, the team that will manage the whole fight, that will think, okay, at the beginning we will do this, and then we will do that, and how to sharpen the messages, how to sharpen the information and what we want to tell. So this team is like the head of the fight. From that, you need to have few more teams. One team is media team. That team can be 2 to 3 people, that's it, that will be in contact with the mainstream media, and if you have independent media as well. That team should do the work of taking the information, the simplified information, and making it to in a language that journalists will know how to work with, to take a press release, all kinds of tools that you should work with the media. So this is the team of media. There is a team that we call lobbying. You know that all kinds of big firms, they have their lobbyists sending them to operate in front of government people and to influence, to make this bill go through, or to take down a bill that they think that it's not good for them. So this lobbying, we can do it as well as citizens. So we need to have people that will work in front of the authorities, whether it's the government, whether it's the, I don't know, Treasury Ministry, or the Treasury Ministry, or any kinds of authority. So you need people that they will be there, and they will get the information, the analyzed, the simplified information, get through to influence inside. So that's the lobbying team. There is a team that should work, I call it field operations. Well, in that matter, I'm speaking about taking the fight out to the streets. Taking the fight out of the streets can be in demonstrations, okay, in protests, and also can be in some kind of creative performance outside somewhere, in a specific place, in a place where the people from the government or the authorities go by, or in a specific event, or even distributing flyers to the public to get them aware of the situation that you are fighting for. So there is the field operations, what you do out in the streets, out in the public areas. And the other team, the last team, is the team that is working in the social media. I served it to the last because here I want to elaborate, because this is my tool, this is how I work specifically. So first of all, the new media, we have all kinds of platforms. And if you are starting a new fight, or you have already a fight and you want to make it bigger, stronger, more efficient, you should have influence in all the platforms: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and I don't know if there is more. Probably there is more locally that you can use. But don't give away any platform. I mean, if you want to be very influential, you need to take them all, especially because sometimes there is each platform, you know, each platform is for another audience. Facebook, more elderly; TikTok, the young ones; Instagram, well, mixed; Twitter, some kind of people. So in each platform, you have each kind of audience, and you need to take the information that we talked about at the beginning and to make the adjustment for each platform, so it will be spread, but in the language of the platform. Specifically, I'm working on Facebook and Twitter combined. I mean, everything I have to say, I say it both in both platforms. It's called cross platforms. Specifically, I work not on a page, but I work on my private profile, my private page on Facebook, and again in Twitter. But that's because I'm an independent journalist. So if you want to do solo, you can do that. And think that also, I mean, take into consideration that Facebook, regarding distribution, Facebook treats the personal pages better than the pages, because Facebook is trying to make money out of pages. So out of you know, to make the post with the money, to make all kinds of advertising through the pages. So consider that the private profiles in Facebook sometimes work more efficiently, but don't give away also the page that with, you know, with the headline of the fight, for example, the green areas fight, or whatever in this example we're talking about. So Facebook, we have a few tools in Facebook. We have the text posts, we have pictures and memes, and we have also live broadcasts through Facebook. We have videos that are not that are not live, and also with pictures. Sometimes there are pictures that are info pictures, infographics. Okay, so all these tools, and please really write this down if you're not familiar with all of them, because you should use all of them. You should use all of them in order to make a change, in order to influence. Um, for example, well, I mean, I'm doing it for 10 years now. Whatever I need to say, whatever facts I want to put in front of the public, usually I take a picture to support the post, to support the text, okay? The picture, it's either with the people who are the stars of the issue, or some relevant picture that describes the issue, or infographic that describes what I'm saying in the text, but in a simple way. Many of those posts I made through the years became very, very viral. Many of them are, well, I need to tell you that when you are challenging the mainstream media, by doing that, even as activists, not as independent journalism, but when you are becoming a civil journalist, okay, a civil journalist performing, I mean, as an activist, you can be civil journalist when you are giving facts and information, strong information, that it's not spread in the mainstream media, and you are also writing it down, and you tell the people, listen, the information here, it's facts, it's been checked, you can check us, and we're telling you that you won't find this information in the mainstream media. If you add this to whatever you're writing, again, assuming that this is the truth, of course, then you have the public attention. When you are challenging the mainstream media and giving information that it's not there, when you are getting into the void that mainstream media is living in all kinds of issues, and I know it's been happening all around the world. So this is your place to be very, very efficient and to get to new crowd, to new audience. So you use in Facebook text, pictures, all that. Another tool, and I will show you in a minute, that I'm using on Facebook, again, as an independent journalist, but you can, I mean, many people use it and they do it regardless, they're not, formal journalists. It's the live broadcast. All the Facebook Live, again, Facebook, where they give a higher distribution, a higher exposure to the live videos, and the recorded videos, less exposure on Facebook, okay? So live videos are better, more crowd, more distribution. And well, I can show you, you will not understand the Hebrew, but I will show you a little bit what I do. You will see that I'm going out to the field. In this case, I'm going out to the protest, and I'm saying at the beginning, hello, this is Orly Barlev, or I'm not mentioning my name, but I mentioned my, well, I have my headline, my name of my broadcast. It's called the only democracy of the Middle East. Hello and welcome to the news of the only democracy in the Middle East. This is the longest name and completely, it's not a recommendation to take a long name, but that's how it became. It's a kind of joke in Israel. So I'm saying, hello, this is the Democracy News. And today we are in whatever, Jerusalem, Tel Aviv, Haifa, and today we are broadcasting from this and that, the situation is this and that, and now let me turn the camera and we see what's going on. And then I turn the camera and start to go to, and people are seeing what we see and what's happening. And also I'm interviewing people. I'm interviewing parliament members that are coming to the area. I'm interviewing citizens that got out. I'm interviewing the organizers. I'm interviewing kids if they are there with their parents and it's okay with them. I'm interviewing old people, young. I'm interviewing everyone. And I'm also telling the story at the beginning and through the broadcast and at the end. It's like when you see a broadcast of a soccer game, or football, or basketball, kind of any kind of sports game. You see the broadcast at the beginning. Hello, today we are blah 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 blah. We have this group and we have this group, and this is the finals or the semifinals. You know, first you need to give the story, and then let the game begin. And you're describing the game, so describing what's going on and also talking with the people through. And at the end, I'm also giving a summary of what we've been through in the last 3-4 hours of live broadcast. In my case, sometimes it's after 7 and 8 hours of broadcast, because some of the protests were really, really, really long hours. And I was just, you know, just being on the air for 7 or 8 hours. Let me tell you a secret. Nobody knows about it because nobody does, you know, broadcast for this kind of long hours. But after 4 hours of broadcast on Facebook shuts you down and you need to start a new live video. But only me knows, because I know that, because nobody usually do 4 hours live or more than. Facebook is an enormous tool. I can tell you that some of my broadcasts went to thousands of people, to thousands of views, and sometimes tens of thousands of views, and sometimes hundreds of thousands views, okay? Thousands of shares. It's a very, very powerful tool. This is Facebook. Twitter. Well, again, it's very important to map the audience in each of your countries and to see who is the audience that you want to talk to, because Twitter is not strong in all countries, and also in some of the countries, Twitter is very to a special kind of audience. And sometimes the Twitter is not very accessible to the wide public. So you need to think whether you want to use it and how to use it. I really, really strongly I think you should anyway use the Twitter as well. Twitter is very short lining. Twitter is very short messaging. And if we talked at the beginning about simplifying the information and simplifying the facts and giving everything very, very simple, very clear. So Twitter is a great tool for that. You can use either in Twitter, it's less photos, less videos, although there are sometimes, especially if you want to see a specific event, and also if the videos are short, not more than 2 minutes and 20 seconds for most of the people. So only if it's really, really important, only if it's really working, it's really hot material, let's say, then use the video or the photo if it's important. But also text, short line, short message, very, very, it's a skill you need to work on, to take all the big fight, although I'm sure it's complex. I'm sure there are from this side and that side and the other side, and there are arguments like this, and there are responses to other arguments. I'm sure that each issue that you want to make people aware of, it's in a way complex. You need to simplify it, and you need to make it, you need to make it, take the essence, the very essence of it, and put it into words. It can be in one tweet as a headline, and if you need to spread more, you can make a thread that it's tweet after tweet after tweet. I'm sure that you can find the tools how to make threads. It's very, very easy. And also you need, sometimes you can use the Twitter in order to provoke journalists, to make them see what's going on, to make them to answer to journalists, to put information in journal after in responses to journalists or politicians or people from the authorities if they have a Twitter account. The Twitter is a very powerful instrument, especially regarding politicians, journalists, and authorities. So it's a powerful tool for that kind of audience. Anyway, in Israel, it's like this, and I know that in some countries it's like this, and maybe also the wide public in some countries. So you need to see whether it's working for you. So this is the Twitter. Instagram, if I was now taking a new fight out to the streets, like don't take the green areas in the example from before, I would also open an account on Instagram. And on Instagram, it's not only taking pictures with text. The most powerful tool on Instagram today is the stories. And use the stories and be cool and be funny and be fun and be nice and be creative and use the stories. And you can take every day like 1, 2, 3, 10, 20 stories. So it can be very, very, up speed, and you can make your account very alive. The Instagram is working amazingly with the wide public, with young people. It's a great tool, especially again through the stories. And also now there is a new tool on Instagram called Reels. Their videos is very, very strong. And it's videos from all over. So it's videos that it will be spread all over. So if you are creative, you can use this tool in a very, very efficient way. TikTok, well, I'm not on TikTok, but I know about it, and I strongly suggest that you don't neglect this platform too. It's powerful. Again, short videos, funny, creative, young people. So you need to adjust the language of the message, but use it. I mean, this is a great platform. And again, take all the platforms and use them all. The more efficient you want to be, the more platform you should use. More I need to tell you about the skills that you need to use. First of all, credibility. You need, whatever information is that you're spreading around, that you're giving to your audience in whatever platform, please base it on facts, and facts that can be checked. If you have papers to show the public that supports your argument. Also, whatever is been on newspapers or, I don't know, television, radio, and mainstream media to support your arguments. Bring specialists, professors from university, or people that it's their profession and their specialty, or whatever you need to bring credibility to your arguments. You need to reach out to people. You need to touch people. You need to touch their mind and their hearts. You need to use both the brain and the soul, the heart, the emotions. You need to work in both paths together, combined. So it's information, credible information, strong information, fact-based information, and the emotions. So in the emotions part, it's whether you can be, even in your text or your videos, whether it's stories, whether it's video on Twitter, live broadcast on Facebook, wherever you do it, bring also the emotions. I can tell you that the most successful videos I've had so far are the ones that I'm giving a lot of information, and I'm doing it not on with poker face, but also with all my, all my emotions. If it's annoying, I'm annoyed. If it's amazing, explosive, unacceptable, so I'm, I'm mad. I'm bringing also my emotions, and by doing that, I am different than the mainstream media. Usually, the mainstream media would give the information, hello, today this happened, and then that happened, and that terrible thing happened, and then that terrible thing happened, and now let's see the broadcast for tomorrow. So I'm telling you not to be like that, but to be connected to the information, to give it with passion, to give it with a bonding to the information, to the meaning of the information. And again, as I said before, all the time, emphasize the relevance of the information to your audience. It's not only about talking about like principles and general justice and being very moral and what is right and what is wrong. That too, but not only that. Speak about how this issue will affect the people that are listening right now. And again, the people that are listening, whether it's Instagram, so talk to the Instagram people. Whether it's Twitter, talk to the Twitter people in their language, and emphasize the influence on their lives, on their children's lives, and so on. Always connect, and with really, with after all I've been saying, this is the most important. I'm emphasizing this. This is the most important thing that I can give you, really, because all the technical tools probably and probably you use them already, but just think all the time in two lanes, in two channels: information, facts, the brain, and the heart, emotions, touching the people. Um, creativity. Creativity is also something you should use, because creativity is to get people attention. We are in the information area. Really, I mean, we are floating in oceans of informations, uh, all kinds of videos, all kinds of tweets, texts, stories. Everybody is doing it. So you need to be special. You need to be creative. You need to be cool. You need to be funny if needed, if it's appropriate. You need to be, I don't know, even you can be shocking. You can be whatever it is, but think very creative. And if we're thinking, and if we're speaking about being creative, let me go back from the new media tools to the team that I told you about, the field operation. In the field operation, we were talking about doing protests or distributing flyers or performance outside in the streets. So, for example, you can have like a small show in a specific place, making people acting, putting costumes. If you want to show that, I don't know, some kind of people, they are like, I don't know, they are like sheeps in herb, and you want to show it. So you can do something that explaining this with visuals. You can use it also, you can do very creative videos. You can do very creative, By the way, you can use also the instrument of podcast, of course. And you can be creative in all the platforms and in all the instruments you can be creative. But you need to take it into consideration that it's not only about giving facts and it's not only about emotions. You need to be original in a way. You need to get people attention, to do something differently. Um, I think that this is, this is from, this is in general, this is from an overview of tools for activists. I can tell you that in the protests, I see people that they are very, very creative with their signs. The signs, sometimes they are very, very sharp, accurate, cynical sometimes, shocking sometimes. And it's with the people's it's their thing. People are going out to the streets. They took colors and they took just one sheet of paper, and they are writing in their own handwriting their message to the world. And so we need to encourage people to use their creativity. It's not only a matter of creativity of the team that organizes the fight. So it's the creativity of the people. Also creativity in how you dress, how you wear shirts, hats, whatever. I mean, use whatever it's on your mind. Think out of the box. And use also the mass wisdom in order to be efficient. Of course, that the wisdom is not with us only. The wisdom is spread, and the more we act together and combined, we are better. We have better efficiency, and we make it, and we make the change. So this is in general, and I think that now we should go to some questions.
Sure. Orly, thank you so
before the
much
meeting.
for all your insights on this topic. And it's certainly very important in this day and age. We have quite a few comments and questions from our audience. I'm going to start with Suchita. She's asking how to deal with the situation when the system accuse the activist that is speaking against the government is speaking against your country.
Hi. Where is Chita from?
Suchita, you want to write it down for us?
Suchita, yeah. Where are you from? From India. Good evening from India, I see. Suchita, yeah.
Okay, perfect.
I see. So, yeah. Okay. Usually what I am saying when there is this kind of criticism, I'm saying that because I love my country, because I love my people, because I want my daughters to have an amazing country to live in, because I'm coming from love, then my criticism is to make it better, is an improvement. And I know that the people that will try to criticize, although people from the government, they will try to tell you that you are not patriotic, and they will try to play on that tune. But if you ask me, being patriotic is to fight for better life for the people, and is to fight for a better country. So that's the response I give when people are telling me you are against the country. No, I'm quite the opposite. I'm putting my energy and my hours and my time into making my country better for all the people here. What more than this? So just opposite the criticism. just take it to the opposite.
Thank you so much for that. We also have quite a lot of comments from Henry. He's from Colombia.
Hi, Henry from Colombia.
And they're having quite a few issues as well over there. And he's making quite a lot of comments on the topic. Also from Julio, he's from Honduras. And he would like to know what's the first strategy to create a good activist in a society that they don't normally know or want to work with the government.
Again, I'm not sure I'm understanding the question.
What would be the first strategy to create a good activist? Let's put it this way. Okay. And the teams and how to build your teams.
Okay. Again, let's take the example we took before, taking a new fight to the streets. Don't take our green areas. Well, if I see something that is wrong, like they want to take the green areas, first I will take a few people that I already know to be, the initial team, even one person or two. I mean, you can start with that, and and from that you can take out post on Facebook or on Twitter. People, we just discovered that they want to take our green areas. Who wants to join to the initial team to start the fight, to build the strategy? And okay, and the people that you need to take into for those teams, they need to, first of all, really, my first thing that comes to mind, no ego. Really no ego. You need to take people that really want to be involved in the issue because it's important to them, because they understand how much it's wrong or dangerous or unacceptable to leave the situation without doing something about it. So it's like to go out from being indifferent to an action. And the people should be motivated not by headlines and the media and microphones and screens. It's about doing the job, doing the work, doing what you need to do in order to make the change. So, well, no ego, less ego. I know that there is ego, but less ego. Second, all kinds of abilities too. Again, it depends. Well, the question depends on the job you need to do. You need all kinds of people. You need people that can collect information. You need people that can analyze information, that can process information, that can make the information accessible. I just described now 4 types of things to do with information, and people can be, different with different skills to do each one. To collect is to collect, to analyze is to analyze, to make infographics, it's other skills. You need someone who needs to work with graphics and graphic design and all kinds of that skill. So you need to have people with all kinds of skills, people that can work with the field operations, to logistics, people that can be on media, to be interviewed. Those people, they are not the same people that are bringing all the megaphones or all the signs, or it's different people. You need to have at least 2-3 people that can go, and it's important not to have one person to go to the media to speak out for your fight. It's important to have a few, so it will be more, you don't want your fight to be in this shape, that there is one person, up, and he's the most known, the most interviewed, the most popular, the star of the fight. You don't need it. You need something which is more like this, and maybe there are some groups, a few groups with all kinds of organizers. but you need to have many voices and many faces. It's okay to have a few that there are, the people that they can get more in touch with, connect with, to follow them. It's okay, especially if, again, they need to be articulate. They need to be able to be on television, on radio, podcasts, live videos, whatever. But don't leave the one or two alone. Make a group of people that can do this thing, at least three, because if you have this kind of structure of your fight, of the people in the fight, then it's very easy for the other side, whether it's government, authorities, tycoons, I don't know, whatever, to take out the leader. I don't know, to take out, not, well, I hope not in a really, really mean way, but to take out politically. I mean, to spread some kind of information, of bad information about him, to follow him, to cause all kinds of trouble in his life, and then he's out, and then the fight is out. No, the fight is not about one person and not about two persons. The fight is about many people that got together to make the change. So you need many people in the front line, okay? And again, it's you need people for each mission, and each mission has its own skills.
Wonderful. Thank you for that. I think so. Thank you so much. Henry would very much like to know how to fight against social censorship. Obviously, this is something that they're experiencing right now, and what would be your advice for him?
Yeah. Well, first of all, of course, it depends in each country and in each country laws and regulations. I'd suggest, well, it depends. If you have legal forces in your country that can make the fight, that can make the change in the legal aspect. By the way, sometimes you need also to have a legal team. It's not in all fights, but sometimes you do, and sometimes the fight, you use it on the street, you use it on the media, on the mainstream media, on the independent media, in the new media, Twitter, Facebook, Twitter, and sometimes there is the point that you want to take it to court. And in that moment, you need to establish a legal team with professionals, whether they are working pro bono or you make some crowdfunding for it, and with legal tools. And there are lawyers that are also activists in their soul, in their, in their hearts, and they will get into the fight, or with, small salary or kind of payment, or sometimes even pro bono. So first, legally, try to work on that legally. Second, I think that it's important that to use international media. International media, it has its force. And sometimes international, if you are managing to take the story out from your country to any kind of, medium to major broadcast channel or newspaper, Guardian, New York Times, Newsweek, Financial Times, all kinds of, or CNN, CNBC, all kinds of, I don't know, BBC. If you are managing to make the international media looking into the story and and take it out to the audience, to the worldwide audience, then it can make a difference. It can make a change. And when I was talking about a media team, You can have in the media team people that are working in front of local media team, local media journalists, and also international journalists, people, foreign journalists that are covering your country. So it's very, very important to get to know them and to make contact with them and to be in touch with them actually regularly.
I have another question from Nabasa Hope. Hi, Nabasa. She wants to know how can one be an efficient activist at the same time as a political leader?
Okay. Can you repeat again the question, because I want to
Yes, Nabasa wanted to know how to be an efficient activist at the same time as a political leader.
Well, there are all, let's start with talking about politicians. There are all kinds of politicians. There are politicians that they come for the job, for the money, for the influence, for the power, okay? The greed of power, the greed of the position. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about politicians that they want to make a change, and they really, really want to work for their people, to improve people's life, and to improve the country's ways. Those politicians, sometimes there are politicians that they use activist tools. For example, video lives and working on new media and even organizing demonstrations and protests. It depends. But of course, that when you are becoming a politician, it's a different position than an activist. An activist, you're serving your people or you're serving your country, but you're not being appointed. Nobody put you in a position that you need to give answers like a politician. It's different. But a politician can use some of the activist tools, creativity, to being interviewed, to sharpen the message. All of the tools I've been talking about can be, and also, of course, the work inside the parliament, inside the government, inside the system, to do to bring people to join you, to bring coalitions, to take the next step of the issue that you are working on. So you can take some of the tools, but it's definitely different because politicians, they have the position, and in this position, it's different than the other.
Is regarding the fake news.
Okay.
Unfortunately, there are so many different sides of stories, and sometimes you're actually working on your own background, and then you have fake news. How do you combat that?
Well, the fake news, actually, it's a problem because first, there are people and organizations who deliberately put fake news into all the social networks in order to get all kind of purposes, to play with people's minds, to put doubts, to sometimes they have, not sometimes, they do it because they have their interests, and they try to make because they are fighting against something which is probably right and moral because it's based on truth. So they put lies in order to even just to take the position of the truth to be that strong. Because sometimes For example, I can tell you about the tobacco companies in the 50s. At the beginning, when they started to talk about the tobacco and cigarettes, it's killing. I mean, it makes you sick, ill with cancer, and then you die. Well, I'm simplifying it. And when these messages started to come out, the tobacco companies at the beginning, they were like, oh my God, what are we going to do? And then they started to put information that, well, there are other doctors and there are other investigators and researchers and this and that from other laboratories that are saying other stuff. And what happened then is that you got the information, the truth and the real information that the tobacco is very, very dangerous for your health. And you had information that maybe it's not so bad, maybe it has all kinds of things that it's even good for your health, maybe. So when you have this climate of conversation, like from that side and other side, it's more effective for the tobacco companies, even just to put the doubt inside. So the audience, so the public will be very suspicious. And when they see any piece of information, they're okay, well, I heard yesterday that it's good. Today you're telling me that it's bad. I don't know if I believe you. So in order to fight the fake news, again, you need to build credibility and as much as possible to bring stuff and materials and people that will support your message, whether it's papers, whether it's interviewing very known and credible people with the right title, specialists, professor from universities, legal people, ex-politicians that the heart's in the right place. All kinds of instruments that you can use to make your information credible. And if you have papers to prove it, from whether you got it from the mainstream media, whether you got it, well, if you know, signed papers, something proves that you can show, then it makes you more credible. And also, if you're having your own Facebook page, your own Twitter account, whether it's personal or for the fight, you're running for the fight, if you are running it through time and you're using credible information and credible, and if you were mistaken, correct your mistake, be very, very open about it, so people can learn to trust you. And if you're doing through long time, then you have the credibility. You can be very, very, you stick to the truth, stick to the facts, stick to the proofs as much as you can, and do it for a long time. Then you have your reputation as a credible source for information. People will believe you, and you will have more power to make them not only being awake, but also taking part of doing a change.
Thank you so much, Orly. Very quickly, do the movements and all these ideas to really change things? Do they make a difference?
It's an excellent question. Yes, not all the time, not sometimes, well, most of the time, not so fast. Because usually the power in the other side, usually we are fighting against very, very strong organizations, governments, authorities, whatever. Usually, if they're able to do something that affects so many people's lives, it's either they have a high position or a lot of money or a lot of people or a lot of titles or a lot of power. So it may take a while, it may take time. And also, sometimes the achievements, it may not be the whole goal at the beginning. So sometimes you will have like medium, like halfway there. But definitely, it makes the change. It makes the change. And if you see through history, you can see that, well, there is this great quotations that sometimes a small group of people can make it. Margaret Mead, I'm not remembering the right quotation, but search for Margaret Mead if someone wants to put the quotation in the chat. Margaret Mead talking about a small group that can make the change. Sometimes you just need a small group, smart one, creative one, very, very stubborn one, just being, that you were kids and your parents told you, stop being so stubborn. So when you're an activist, be stubborn. Don't get off the point. You are making a point, you are talking about the point, you are standing on a point, stay there. Stay and continue. And with the people that are more coming, I can tell you that I see it. Not all the time, not so fast. Sometimes we don't have many achievements. But there is also another quotations of a famous Israeli writer who said that I go out to the street with my sign, and I take into consideration that I may not change the world, but I won't let the world change me. Okay? So, just taking the stand, just speak up, just go out with the sign or go to the networks and do your thing. This is the basic. And also I have to add one more instrument that we haven't talked about, and that's the belief. Activism, it's a job for believers. Okay, you need to be a believer. You need, because the other side usually, again, they are powerful, they have the money, they have the people, blah blah. And we have the most meaningful instrument, and that's our hearts, and that's our beliefs, and that's our determination, being stubborn, being determined. So with this skill of believing, even if something looks almost impossible, or very, very far-fetched, very, very hard to achieve, the belief is a powerful tool, powerful instrument to feel, to use, to be in belief. So use it. This is the basic. You start from there.
Another comment is sometimes political parties hijack the social movements and use them against an opponent party. How to deal with these issues? And should the activists keep themselves separate, or they should involve themselves in this political party?
Who is asking and where from?
It's Suchita again.
Suchita again from India. Okay, this is it's funny that we all have the same problems in activism all around the world. This is really an ancient problem and an ancient dilemma regarding activists, whether to be involved in politics, whether to keep it separate. Okay. I'm coming from the opinion that civil fight and civil activism should stay civil, and you should let the politician do their job, because we need both of the fields. We need the good politicians to work for us. We need to give them power. We need to strengthen them. We need to support them so they will have all the support they need in order to do the right thing, whether they are the politicians with, you know, the heart's in the right place and all that. But nevertheless, we always need the civil society organization, groups, activists, independent journalists. We need that too. You cannot have a functioning country, democracy, or wannabe democracy without the civil society. And the civil society, with all its instruments, it needs to be separate from the politicians. And I will tell you more than that, that even if you have the politicians that you want and you support and you believe in, even if they become in control, in power, yeah, even if they become their coalition, the prime minister, okay, the most politicians that you like from the opposition is suddenly becoming the prime minister, let me assure you, if his heart is in the right place, he will still want you to give him a mirror to look into, because just getting into power position, you see things differently, you work things differently, and there are all kinds of other power people in the backstage that nobody sees, usually the people with the big pockets, with the big money, that will try to influence. So you need to have the contra. Anyway, you need to be the counterback. You need to give the opposition, you need to be the opposition all the time to any kind of government, even if it's a government of fairies and butterflies, okay? You need, I mean, it cannot work without the public supervision. If you abandon the public supervision, then the fairies and the butterflies in the government, the most amazing, whatever, John Lennon as the prime minister, even they can become with rust of power and influence from backstage. They need us to stay in the civil society as a strong one.
Thank you very much, Orly. Thank you so much for all your time and for all the questions and from the audience. Thank you so much, everybody.
Was it helpful, people? Let me know. Was it helpful?
Of course it was.
It says do this with your hands. You can raise your hands. Yeah, I see you, Julio Baca. Thank you, Julio. Yeah, show your face. Go out. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Yeah,
got a shy audience.
Hi, Jean. Hi. Hi, Henry. Hi. Yeah, this is so great.
Oh, there's Henry. Henry, best of luck.
Here is Suchita from India.
There's Suchita.
And there is Omar. Hi, Omar.
Very good to see you all, and we all hope that you'll be here with us next week as well, when we have our last of the sessions on civil society activism, which we're going to be addressing gender biases and the promotion of equal participation. So I really hope you will all join us as well. I'll pass it on to Yehuda. Thank you so much.
I will echo what Nuria says. Thank you so much for Orly for having this great presentation. It was very interesting. We learned a lot. Everybody learned a lot. As well, I also want to thank the participants from all over the world who joined us, even if it's evening, morning, and also on Zoom. So we're hoping to see you in June 2nd for our last meeting. Until then, shalom.
Thank you all. Bye-bye. Good luck. Lots of luck. My heart
Thank you
is
so
with
much.
You. My
Thank
heart
you,
is
Orly.
with you.
Bye. Thank you so much, everybody.
Bye-bye.